Welcome to all of you, and thanks for uh, participating in our webinar today. I do want to let everybody know we have a quasi celebrity attending the webinar today because Brittany was one of our teachers who broke our sail car record on her first try. So that was pretty amazing for all of us to, some of us were actually there to be able to see that event. So that was pretty cool. But what we're going to talk about today is our 2022 Kansas KidWind Challenge. And we hope that you're able to join us for this KidWind Challenge. And we hope that you talk to other teachers who think they might be interested in having their students do it. This is a really fun event, and we enjoy putting it on, and we enjoy making it accessible to you if that's what you want to do. So that's the ultimate goal of our program. The Kansas Energy Program is to make this accessible to all the teachers who want to participate in it. And the only way we're able to do that is through our corporate sponsorship. The Kansas Corporation Commission is our main sponsor for what the Kansas Energy Program does. They're our major funder, but we also have corporate sponsors from Enel Green Power North America, ITC, Great Plains, and Kansas Electric Cooperatives. And then the Dodge City Public Schools, Hutchinson Community College, Johnson Community College, the NKESC and Wolf Creek Nuclear Operating Corporation, which is now Evergy. They all provide facilities for these KidWind challenges, and they're all free of charge. And the Wolf Creek Young Generation in Nuclear is actually a group that provides volunteers for the KidWind challenge that we have at Wolf Creek. So without all of them, this would not be possible. We would still have the will. I just don't know if we'd have the way to do it. So these organizations are absolutely critical. And in particular, corporate sponsors make it possible for us to provide reimbursement for any teacher substitute stipends that you may incur by going to the KidWind challenges. So we'll reimburse those for every teacher that has to get a teacher substitute. And we will also reimburse mileage to and from the KidWind challenge that you choose to attend. And then we also provide lunch, and we can't use any of the federal flow through funds that we get from Kansas Corporation Commission to do that. So we rely on those corporate funds. This is historically the KidWind participation, and we took over the program in 2018 from a former K-State professor who only had it in Manhattan, Kansas. And even before we started the actual event for that, just during the registration for that 2018 KidWind Challenge, we realized that we weren't getting any schools or teachers from any of the corners. We were just getting them from Manhattan and some from the Kansas City area. And so we knew that if we wanted to expand that, we had to go out to where the schools were. And so in 2019, we did 4 regional challenges instead of just the one in Manhattan. And you can see the results there. And then in 2020, we added a 5th regional challenge. And just busted our numbers. I mean, we were doing really great, and we're very happy. And we were the only state, I believe, in the nation that was able to complete all of our regional challenges before COVID hit. And then COVID hit. We weren't able to do our statewide KidWind challenge. We weren't able to send any of the teams to the national KidWind challenge. And then, of course, in 2021, everything went virtual. So again, really, we had a statewide challenge, but it was a virtual statewide challenge, and there was also a virtual national KidWind challenge. We're hoping that things are going to be different this year. So what we've done, we actually added a 6th regional challenge in Hutchinson this year. So we're looking forward to that. We're on par with the 2019 numbers, actually, with 22 schools registered and 50 teams. Now, some of those teams are on the wait list, which is fine. But right now, it appears as if we would be able to allow even those waitlisted teams to apply. So if you're not registered, what we would like you to do is what we would encourage you to do is go ahead and register. If you don't have all the information that's requested of you in the registration, just go ahead and put at least your school name and your name as the coach or the teacher, and get them in so that if there are a rapid number of last minute registrants, then you're already in and you can go. But right now, what we're looking at is basically a 50% capacity, with the exception of our Manhattan regional challenge. So what we try and do is we limit it to around 16 teams per challenge, and that's just because of the time schedule. We have 3 or 4 events, and we have 15 minutes for the events and 5 minutes in between. So if you add more than 16 teams, it's a really long day, and we recognize that some of you need to get back on the road and get back to your schools. So we try and limit the number. So basically what we do is we encourage each school to register 2 teams. If they want to register more, they can, but anything over 2 will be waitlisted. If we don't have 16 teams for that particular region, we can bring those waitlist teams on. If we do have 16 teams, then those teams would be removed from the list, or we could try and work out some other resolution. But the biggest thing is go ahead and get your teams registered if you want to. This is where we are for 2022 KidWind Challenge. So the KidWind Challenge is not something that we created. It was actually created by a science teacher in California. And Yvonne, Ryan, I'm going to say, was he an 8th grade science teacher, Mike Arkwood? Or sixth grade. Okay. And he wanted a more hands-on interactive way to teach wind energy and renewable energy to his students. So he came up with the original KidWind concept, and he's managed to grow that to a national and international level. We've been very happy to participate here in the state of Kansas. And as you can see, we are now considered to be by National KidWind, one of the more active states in the KidWind challenges. And we just continue to look for ways to grow this program. And we're not growing it for us. We're growing it for all of you who are on the webinar, and those who would like to participate, and maybe we'll look at this webinar at a later time. So everything that we do, we're just doing to provide a venue and provide resources for all you teachers out there who are maybe looking for some innovative ways to do these to do some wind energy education for your students. As I said, we're gonna host 6 regional KidWind challenges. The new one is in Hutchinson for the South Central area, currently the nationals. We were just on a call this morning. They're still looking to see whether that the nationals is going to be in person or hybrid or fully online, and they're expecting to make that decision by February 1st. If it is held in person, the National KidWind Challenge will take place in San Antonio, and we will do everything that we can to help the teams that advance from the Kansas statewide challenge to get over to the National KidWind Challenge if it is continues to be in San Antonio. So that would be a really cool thing for your students, I'm sure. San Antonio is a great place to visit, particularly during May before it gets scorching hot. These are the dates and locations for our regional KidWind challenges. We're still trying to confirm the date and the venue for the state wide challenge, but we hope that it will be in Topeka. We might have to move it to some other venue, but we expect to hear on that shortly. So the first one is going to be February 22nd in Overland Park, followed by February 24th in Hutchinson. And then we have March 1st in Dodge City, March 3rd in Oakley, and then March 9th in Manhattan, and then concluding with March 11th in Burlington. And I guess maybe it will say this later on, but you know, the benefits of the KidWind is for students, you know, first and foremost, to discover wind energy technology, what it is, what it does, what are the principles, how it's important to the particularly us here in Kansas, but nationally and internationally, and then to find careers that are in those STEM fields that are relatable, related to renewable energy. The KidWind does meet multiple next generation science standards. You know them probably better than we do, but it's a great cross-cutting interactive project for these students to work on, that not only does STEM, but if you wanted to do STEAM and bring the arts into it, you can do multimedia, you can do videos, you can do graphics based on what the team has done. So you can just bring in whatever the heck you want. This is just a really cool project for the students and the teachers to do. So basically what it is that the students will design, build, present, and test a functional wind turbine. Hopefully it's functional, not going to guarantee that it's functional. That's up to you as the teachers and coaches. And then they get to compete with peers in a supportive environment. If you've never been to one of these, it is not an ultra competitive environment. Both my boys did Taekwondo, and I know how incredibly pressurized those competitions can be. This is not. This is more of a very friendly, hey, let me look at your wind turbine. Let's see what you're doing compared to what we're doing. Just very interactive. So the teams actually do build their turbines before attending the regional KidWind Challenge. So the first one is depending on where you're going to go, but our first regional challenge is February 22nd. So if they've already been working on a wind turbine, that's great. But if they just start today, they would have from now until February 22nd to get a functional wind turbine going. And at the challenge, the teams are going to compete in 3 core areas. You know, one is going to be the performance testing in the wind tunnel, where we will measure the energy output and calculate the efficiency of that wind turbine. But there's also a presentation and judging. So we'll have 3 to 5 judges that the student team will present their wind turbine and their research. And teachers and coaches and parents aren't allowed in that judges panel. So it's just the judges and the student team. And wow, that's where the students can really shine with their knowledge of wind energy and why they did what they did and how they got to where they are versus where they first started. These presentations are so cool that we even had one KidWind team get invited to an electric cooperative annual conference for the team to present to the audience at the electric cooperative. So that was really cool, and the teacher was just loving it. And then the final area is a knowledge quiz. We do provide all of the resources to the teams. We show them exactly all the resources from whence we derive the questions for the knowledge quiz. So they can go to those resources ahead of time. We're not trying to surprise everybody or do a pop quiz. We actually give them the resources, and then all they have to do is read those and of course, you know, try and retain a little bit of memory about it. And it is an interactive quiz, so all the team members can can do the quiz together. It's not a separate event. Okay. We have had in the past an additional area of scoring. In the past, this has been an instant challenge. That adds more logistics for us, which I don't particularly care for, and it adds a lot of stress to the students, which they don't particularly care for. So we will make a decision on that in the weeks ahead, and we'll let you know as soon as possible. But for right now, we're looking at the performance testing, the presentation and judging, and the knowledge quiz. And then each team will receive a combined score based on their performance in all those areas. So you can have a team that does really well in the performance in the wind tunnel, but if they don't do well at the judging or in the knowledge quiz, they're not going to fare as well as somebody who might do a little bit less well in the wind tunnel, but they do better in the other two events. So it's not just a one thing. They have to do all those. So this is probably some of the information that you're looking for if you're new to the KidWind Challenge. How do you incorporate what it is that you do into the KidWind Challenge? Basically, we'll help make it fit in whatever way works best for you. It is open to after school clubs and homeschool groups and et cetera. So it doesn't necessarily have to be a classroom project, although we recognize that many teachers do so. And that's fine. Some teachers kick off their lessons after the winter break and spend a couple of weeks on the project, and others start earlier and come back to it in February. You know, we've had and again, Ryan and Yvonne, you chime in if you have other insights. We have had schools start on this with a week to go, I think, before the challenge, and they were successful at it. You know, I'm not saying, you know, that they were probably the highest performer in the wind tunnel, but they were able to put together a very functional, very effective wind turbine in what some of us would consider not a lot of time. Some teachers do use it as a capstone project. The thing that we want to make sure that everybody knows is we typically only allow 2 to 3 teams per school. What we want to do is provide access to as many schools as are interested. And if one team or if one school, you know, jammed up the registration with 8 teams from one particular school, then we're not getting as much diversity in that challenge as we would like. So what some teachers do is they'll host an internal competition. And if you need support for that, we are willing to do that. We do have wind tunnels. We have, how many wind tunnels do we have now? 6? Or do we still have 5?
6.
We have 6 wind tunnels that are available to loan to schools for periods of time. Some of that will depend on how many requests we get for them. But yeah, so we do have some resources available. We have anemometers if you need those. We have energy sensors, and we'll loan out like a complete pack, and you can host an internal competition at your school and select the 2 or 3 teams that make it to the top, and then send those to one of our regional challenges. Already went over the 16 teams and how those are. So the thing that I haven't mentioned is that the top 2 teams in each age division, the 4th through 8th and the 9th through 12th, will be invited to attend the statewide KidWind Challenge. So we're looking at this year a potential of 24 teams advancing to the states, whereas before with the 5 we only had 20. So we're expanding the statewide challenge, and hopefully, you know, getting more students involved. And then the top 2 teams in each age division at the statewide challenge will be invited to attend the national event. Sometimes the national event will go down to the 3rd teams in each age division, and And if they choose to invite those teams, that's fine. We will try and support all the teams equally if they can.
So last year, Nationals asked for any teams that
Yeah.
had shown a significant increase from their regional to state. We were actually able to extend an invitation to one of the teams that had never done KidWind before, which was really cool, just because of where they had started at in their regional and where they ended up at their state level. Just they had like a 200% increase in just where their scoring was at.
Yeah. And all you teachers know, I mean, the experimentation phase is critical. So when we used to have just the one event, there just wasn't there wasn't the chance to see what they failed at and to see how they could do it better for the next round. And when we went from a regional to a statewide, the total percent improvement from the regional to the statewide was just so telling and so very satisfying to all the teams. It was great. So who can participate? It's any student in 4th through 8th or 9th through 12th grade. There is no restriction on team size by the rules, but we certainly recommend no more than 3 to 5. If you get more than that, you know better than we do, you're going to have some students that just aren't pulling their fair share of the load, and you're going to get 2 or 3 people that are actually doing the work anyway. It does not have to come from an organized public school. Homeschool after school clubs are fine. It can be any group of students that are in the 4th through 8th or 9th through 12th grade. But they do have to have an adult as a coach with them at the event, and the rules require 1 adult per 10 students. And that adult is going to be taking the students and making sure that they're getting from one event in the challenge to another, and kind of monitoring their rambunctiousness, I guess I would say, and ratcheting it down when it needs to. There is no cost to register. There's no cost to, well, I'm going to say there's no cost to participate, but you do have to have the supplies to build the turbine. We can provide KidWind turbine parts from kits that we have. We will provide a KidWind generator to you to reduce that cost, and it's only $7, but so anyway, if you need one, let us know, and we'll send it to you. And as I said before, we do reimburse mileage to and from the regional challenge and the statewide challenge if you succeed in getting to that, and we'll do the stipends for the teacher substitutes. We do provide lunch at each of the challenges also, and it's not just lunch. We do snacks in the morning when they get there. Fresh, healthy apples, oranges, bananas, and water, and then we'll do. Generally, it's going to be pizza for lunch because that's just the easiest thing for us to do, and I've never seen a student turn down pizza. And then, so what does the day look like of the actual challenge? We set up the registration between 8 and 9. 9 is usually when we try and kick it off with a short presentation of what the students can expect. And then the teams will rotate through the 3 to 4 areas of the competition. And so there's always a lag time, right? When the last group has finished and we're trying to tally up all the scores. So generally we have one of the corporate sponsors do a presentation while the scores are being tallied. And then the winners are announced at approximately 3:30 p.m. and we try and get you on the road. Now those will shift depending on how many teams there are. And we do provide a time period for retesting for catastrophic, what we call catastrophic failures. So if we don't have any catastrophic failures, everybody went through the performance wind tunnel, no problem, then we'll have that time period that we no longer need, and we'll move up the presentation. So just to give you an idea of what this looks like, this is the staging area. This is the staging area for the Manhattan KidWind challenge. They're all going to look approximately the same. The spacing might change a little bit, but this is the hub of activity. This is where the energy is just booming, and the students are having a great time. They're going around to all the different tables and looking at all the other different designs, and they're saying, "Oh, we could have done that," or "Hey, we could have put more blades on our turbine." But this is just a great way for the teams to interact with each other, and they're making last minute repairs to their turbines. This is a great area to be in. We do set up a practice wind tunnel. This is exactly the same that you'll see in the performance wind tunnel. And this just gives the teams a chance to put their turbine through the paces and make sure it works, make sure it's not falling apart. We have the same energy sensors in there that they'll use for the performance wind tunnel. So this is just their practice area. And this can get very busy, and the way that we typically run the practice area is that the team that is scheduled to go next into the performance wind tunnel gets the first dibs into going into the practice. But if they elect not to take advantage of that, then it's fair game. Anybody that's in line can go. This is the performance wind tunnel. Anybody is allowed to come in and watch the performance on this one. We set up a row of tables on the side, and we just ask that everybody not on the team be behind those tables, because we don't want to interfere with the airflow either behind or in front of the wind tunnel. And then we'll also project the energy performance up on a screen so everybody can watch how the wind tunnel or that particular wind turbine is doing. This is the judges panel, and you can see that here we have 3 judges, and we have a timekeeper that's trying to keep the judges on schedule. Here we have 3 judges again, and a timekeeper, and the presentations can either be, some of them bring a PowerPoint, some of them just bring in their wind turbine, and they'll talk to the judges about it, just a simple presentation, and then the judges will ask a bunch of questions about how they got to that point, what was their decision-making process. And this is the knowledge quiz. As you can see, they're all conferring with each other and trying to come up with the best answer. So yeah, it's a bunch of students taking a quiz. This is the, I think we've only had one challenge where we actually did the instant challenge. Yep. And this is called our MacGyver exercise. They have to build a working wind tunnel, wind turbine that will actually lift weight. And so you can see there's a couple of different designs there, and there's just a multitude of designs that get made during this. Yeah, that was this was in the 2020, I believe, 2020. So the basic rules are that they have to use a KidWind generator, which is this one. Again, we will provide those as needed. Kansas does not currently have an open generator division, although the Nationals does. And the open generator is one in which you can either build your own generator, or you can use a generator that has been, from some other mechanical device. But we currently just have the KidWind generator, and we have found that that's been enough for our purposes, with the exception of one team. Each team has to have its own turbine and base. So even if you have multiple teams, they can't share any part of the wind turbine. They have to have designed and built their own individual wind turbine. Okay, so they can't just do the blades and the tower and then share the same base. It's not allowed in the rules. And then each team must have a coach. It can be the same coach, as long as the number is, 1 adult per 10 students. So you can have up to 3 teams of 3 and still have just the same coach. But if you go over that, then you're going to have another person to help out. And we do have the KidWind Challenge rules on our website. You can go down to resources for the rules and the logistics. The turbine does have to fit inside our 4x4 foot wind tunnel. And then just make sure that your team has either used one of the official wind tunnels for practice, so that they ensure those blades don't hit the plastic or the floor. It must be freestanding. It has to have its own tower. We will provide weights to hold the turbine in place. But you can certainly use your own weights if you choose to do so. And so sometimes the students will want to go in there and give the turbine a push start. Well, that's not allowed for the rules, because we can't do it out there on the prairie. So they can't do it in our wind tunnel either. It has to be able to start on its own. You are allowed to use purchased parts other than pre-made airfoils. But the judges do like to see the students be creative and repurpose materials. But anyway, but yes, you can use purchase parts. But the blades do have to be safe. We don't like to see real sharp blades. We don't like to see sheet metal, anything with sharp edges, because we have had catastrophic failures, and that thin plastic sheeting that we have in the wind tunnels not really going to stop those blades if they're real sharp. If you do test your devices, make sure that you hook them up to a 3 ohm resistor to create a load. That's the way we measure it in the wind in the performance wind tunnel. So if you've practiced without a 30 ohm and then you get into ours and it has a load, it's not going to perform quite as well as what you might have been expecting. And then the final note is that our wind tunnel provides approximately 3.5 meters per second wind speed. So make sure, I mean, if you're just using a little desk fan as your air source for testing your wind tunnels, just recognize ours is going to be a little bit more powerful than that. And we've had some that were fine when they tested them at their school, but then when they put them in our wind tunnel, they kind of fell apart. So this is all the equipment that we use in the KidWind Challenge. This is the KidWind, the wind tunnel, of course. So we have 4 box fans, an aluminum frame, and then we have a metal, a plastic tarp that wraps around that. This is the Go Direct energy sensor from Veneer that we use, measures energy output over time. And then we have the anemometer that we use to measure the wind speed. We have all of this equipment available for loan free of charge. You just have to let us know if you need it, and then we will arrange to get it to you. Again, the goal of our program is to increase the accessibility to schools by reducing the obstacles for them to participate. We don't want you to have to go out and buy your own wind tunnel. You certainly can if you wish. You can buy all of your own equipment. All we're saying is that you don't have to. If you need a loan, we'll be more than happy to loan it to you. Oh, and just a note on this. I don't know where you're located. I don't know where your school is located. But really that's not your concern for our program. If you're out in where's Kim? Ulysses. If you're out in Ulysses, Kansas, and you say, oh, I'd love to borrow that wind tunnel, but I'm so far away. That is not your problem. That's our problem for trying to figure out how we're going to get the equipment to you. But do not worry about where you are in relation to us, because our mission is to get the equipment to you, and we'll figure that out as best we can. Okay. We have had some cancellations because we live in Kansas and we try and do these challenges in February and March. So the first isn't due to us, but if we've had a regional challenge where we just don't have enough teams or schools registered, we will look at that and see if we need to cancel that and move the schools to another regional challenge. Again, we will reimburse the mileage and to and from whatever regional challenge you attend. So it may take more time on your part, but there won't be the financial aspect of it. And we have had to cancel due to weather once, and that was our Dodge City event in 2019, I believe. We do look at that pretty closely, and we'll try and cancel the day before anybody gets on the road. We're going to do a short video for you. So this is the Oxford Air Sharks. These were the 2019 Kansas State champions and the national champions. I don't know how many years running. They started off in the 4th through 8th grade age division and moved up to the 9th through 12th, and just nobody could touch them. So just real quickly, and do I have to share the screen? Okay, in a different, so I'll stop sharing that one and I will share, this one, I guess.
We're at 4:07, David, just so you know.
Okay. I did not take the video, so I apologize for it going sideways. It goes back after a while.
And the wind tunnel looks different because they're actually testing it in the wind tunnel that the collegiate teams were using at the OWIA conference where Nationals was at, just for fun, to see what it would do.
And you can do a little bit of industrial espionage and see the gear ratio that they're using on this particular one. If any of you are first time participants in the KidWind Challenge, just know that we do not expect this. And recognize that this was multiple years of continual improvement upon their design.
Yeah, at this point, this team already had like 3 or 4 years worth of experience working on it. And they consistently were working on it throughout the year and not just during like a month time period once a year.
And it wasn't this team, but we have actually had a team where the some of the judges, who are from the wind energy industry, told the students, as soon as you are ready for a job, come find us, because they were so impressed by their wind turbines that they wanted to hire them.
And I do want to emphasize that there were even some of the wind industry experts who didn't offer them a position based on the performance of their wind turbine, but because of the concepts that the students had integrated into the design. So it doesn't have to be the highest performer. It's the engineering and the creativity that went into design that impresses the judges more than just getting something that works really well. Okay, did I do the whole stop and share? Good, okay. All right, so these are the 2021 champions, the Wheatland Hawkmoors High School, and then the Dighton BTU crew. So I do have to explain, so this was their superpower, is that they were farm kids. So during the presentation, during the judges' presentation, on cue, they all undid their shirt so that they could show their superpower, which went pretty far towards points with the judges. We already talked about this, but again, register as soon as possible. We do have some teams that are already waitlisted. Choose the regional event that makes the most sense for your teams, but if we do move them, again, we will reimburse mileage to and from wherever you ultimately end up. So the only one that right now we're bumping up against the capacity is Manhattan. So again, with 16 teams, we only have room for 3 more. And then just real quick, we do have a lending library of other equipment besides KidWind. So this is a lot of our energy efficiency equipment. We have LabQuest, we have data loggers, we have infrared cameras, solar panel with a battery, and this has a input output, so you can have the students bring some stuff in. You can see how much like their hair dryer will use, or their game console, or something like that. So anything that we have in our program is available for loan free of charge to K through 12 schools. We do have a couple of breakout rooms based on energy efficiency. One's on energy audits, which is so it's a career kind of breakout room. They have to find and use actual equipment that energy professionals use when they're doing energy audits of buildings. And then finally, here's our contacts. You actually have 4 of the 5 of us on the webinar right now. But we're available to come to your school. We're available to deliver equipment to your school. We're just a resource for you if you need us. We have gone to schools in the past where we've stayed a couple of days, and the schools just rotate every one of their math and science classes through us as we do an energy presentation. That's available to you as well. So I'm going to stop talking now, and I'll open it up for any questions that you might have.